All right, next we have Lenni Brenner. Lenni Brenner is an author. He's written a book about the Democratic Party called The Lesser of Two Evils. The Lesser Evil. And he wrote another book about Thomas Jefferson and Madison, and he's written a number of other things, scores of articles about politics in the Middle East, and we're very pleased to have him speak now.
Okay. Let me start off by saying that I pray to the God that gave us, the non-existent God that gave us the hurricane, that he elects Obama as President of the United States. Now, I am not saying we should vote for him, but I pray that he wins. And the reason why is very simple. We're in a deep crisis of economic, political, military, etc., and it's going to get worse regardless of who is president. Better it happened under Obama, because the liberals and a big piece of the working class and the intelligentsia, if Romney wins, they'll demonstrate against him, but come 2014, they'll vote for the Democratic Party in the elections for Congress, as, you know, help defeat Romney. Whereas if Obama wins, then they won't have that excuse for voting Democrat, and we can talk to them about building a new third party. Now, a couple of days ago, I had an interview. I don't know whether I interviewed her or she interviewed me, but I had an interview with Roseanne Barr, who is running for president. She's on the ballot in 3 states. The most important is California, where she represents the Peace and Freedom Party, which is calls itself a socialist party. And I told her that I was for Jill Stein, the Green candidate, but I understood that she was a progressive, and I said, look, after the election, call a conference of all the left-wing organizations in the United States, all the socialist groups calling themselves socialists, etc., and the Green Party and the Peace and Freedom Party. And we can have a conference over the internet, you know, nowadays, and let's discuss where do we go from here electorally. In other words, there is going to be an election in 2014 for Congress all over the United States. Let's not wait until the morning before, and then have 6, 8 socialist groups running. Now, I have a full critique of Jill Stein. Stan and I signed a critique of her on the Palestine question, that she's basically a well-intended two-stater, and whereas the Green Party is actually on record as being for one democratic, secular, binational state. And I maintain that position, that that's her weakness, but nevertheless, let's put it this way, she's the lesser of the two goods, as it were, between her and Barr or any of the other candidates, left-wing candidates, in that she's on the ballot in about 30 states, which means that she's gotten a certain amount of media attention, at least in those states. Okay, now, I know a couple of socialist parties are running, Freedom Socialist Party and the Party for Socialism and Liberation, etc. I've worked with both, and I intend to continue working with both, but the fact of the matter is that the vast majority of the public has never heard of you, and you know, you might recruit a handful of people here, a handful of people there, but that's not building a socialist electoral party. And so I invite you to the conference that I'm hoping that Roseanne calls to discuss how to build. I'm in the Green Party for a very simple reason. I look back at I always ask, what would Leon Trotsky do? You know that. And when his movement got started in the United States in 1927, there were a big hole 3 members, and he told them, go into the Socialist Party. It's a reformist party, but go in there. There's an economic crisis going on. And they went in there and they recruited several hundred people, and they started their movement from out after 4 years in the Socialist Party. And that's what I'm saying with the Green Party. It exists in a number of states. Go into it, take it over, and develop it from there. And I'll put it this way. Anybody who is a socialist who can't win over the membership of the Green Party to socialism, I don't think you're going to win over the American people to socialism if you can't start by winning them over. Now, I want to deal with one aspect of the election, okay? The Middle East, and I only got 2 minutes, so I'll make it very short, but anybody wants to give me their emails, I'll send you stuff on it. Margaret Truman in 1973 wrote a book about her father, Harry Truman. It's called Harry S. Truman. And she describes how on October 6, 1947, at a Democratic meeting, the national chairman of the Democratic Party, this is her now, quote, Bob Hannigan almost made a speech pointing out how many Jews were major contributors to the Democratic Party's campaign fund and were expecting the United States to support the Zionist position on Palestine. Now, that has been like a Wagnerian leitmotif on the history of the Democratic Party ever since. They get, according to the head of the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, wrote an article in 2011, between 1/3 and 2/3 of the private campaign contributions of the Democratic Party come from Jews. Okay, and if I had time, I'd explain why the variation 1/3 to 2/3. But that's crucial to the Democratic Party, and they would murder their grannies to get that money. And now in this election in particular, where the big Wall Street funds are going to the Republicans, they have to keep chanting how wonderful Israel is, and it's the only democracy in the Middle East, and so on and so forth. But I point out to you, 30 seconds, okay, I point out to you that this guy who is so wonderful, tells us how wonderful Israel is, also made the biggest military deal, weapons deal in American history, $60 billion to Saudi Arabia. Now that's his Middle East policy. Cheerleading for Netanyahu to win campaign contributions here in the United States, and arming the only government in the world that doesn't permit women to drive cars. Now, I argue lesser evil. Just how evil can you get? Thank you very much.
Thank you.